John Hart was a man of quiet determination. In his mid-50s, he carried the wisdom of someone who had seen both triumph and failure. He was a successful businessman and a veteran, someone who valued hard work and integrity. But John wasn't the type to boast. Though he owned a chain of popular restaurants, including the Silver Plate, he often preferred to stay behind the scenes. Today, he decided to visit his restaurant as a regular customer, dressed in jeans, a plain jacket, and his well-worn red MAGA hat. John had always believed in treating people with respect, no matter their background or beliefs. But he knew the world didn't always operate that way. As John walked into the restaurant, he noticed the usual lunch crowd, friends chatting, couples sharing meals, and families enjoying time together. He smiled, feeling proud of the warm, inviting atmosphere. A young waiter named Kyle approached him. Kyle was new, in his early 20s, full of ambition, but with a sharp edge to his personality. He had a strong opinion about everything and didn't shy away from showing it. "Table for one?" Kyle asked, his eyes narrowing slightly when he noticed John's hat. "Yes, please," John replied calmly. Kyle led him to a table near the back. It wasn't the best spot, but John didn't mind. He sat down, adjusted his hat, and glanced at the menu. When Kyle returned to take his order, his tone was curt. "What can I get for you?" he asked, barely making eye contact. John ordered a simple burger and a cup of coffee. As Kyle wrote it down, he smirked. "You know," he said, "we usually get a better crowd around here. Guess anyone can walk in these days." John raised an eyebrow but didn't respond. He could sense Kyle's disdain and understood where it was coming from. As the meal went on, Kyle's attitude grew worse. He slammed the coffee cup on the table, muttered under his breath, and even made a comment loud enough for nearby diners to hear. "Some people think a hat can make them important," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. John remained calm, though it wasn't easy. He had spent years building a business that treated everyone with kindness, and seeing this behavior in his own restaurant hurt. In the kitchen, another server, Maria, noticed Kyle's behavior. Maria had been with the Silver Plate for years. She was kind, hardworking, and respected by everyone. "Kyle," she said quietly, pulling him aside, "you need to watch how you talk to customers. That man hasn't done anything to you." Kyle shrugged. "Come on, Maria, look at him. One of those types. They think they own the world." Maria sighed. "You don't know who he is, and you don't know his story. Treat him like you'd want to be treated." But Kyle didn't listen. As the meal ended, John asked to speak with the manager. Kyle smirked, assuming John was going to complain about something trivial. He went to fetch the manager, a middle-aged man named Steve, who had been running the restaurant for years under John's guidance. Steve approached the table with a warm smile. "How can I help you today?" John looked at him and said, "Steve, it's been a while. How have you been?" Steve's eyes widened. "Mr. Hart, I didn't recognize you. It's so good to see you." Kyle, who had been standing nearby, froze. His face turned pale as he realized what was happening. John turned to Kyle and said, "So, you're the new waiter? I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I think we need to have a talk about how you treat people." Kyle stammered, trying to find the right words. I didn't know who you were. I'm sorry if I offended you." John shook his head. "It's not about who I am. It's about respect. Everyone who walks through these doors deserves to be treated with kindness, whether they're wearing a MAGA hat, a suit, or a hoodie." Kyle looked down, ashamed. "I guess I let my assumptions get the better of me." John nodded. "We've all made mistakes, Kyle, but it's how we learn from them that matters. I started this restaurant to create a place where everyone feels welcome. That's the legacy I want to leave behind." As the conversation continued, John shared a personal story. "Years ago, I was in a tough spot," he said. "I was a young veteran, struggling to adjust to civilian life. One day, a stranger showed me kindness when I needed it most. That act of compassion changed my life and inspired me to build this restaurant." Kyle's eyes filled with tears. He admitted that his father was also a veteran who had faced similar struggles. "I think I understand now," he said softly. John placed a hand on Kyle's shoulder. "Then honor that understanding. Treat every customer as if they're someone's family, because they are. From that day on, Kyle changed his attitude. He became one of the most respectful and attentive servers at the Silver Plate. Maria and Steve noticed the transformation, and so did the customers. As for John, he continued to visit his restaurants in disguise, not to catch employees off guard, but to remind himself of the importance of humility and respect. The Silver Plate thrived not just because of its food, but because of the values it upheld, a testament to the belief that kindness can change lives. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.